Investigators ending their search at the Long Island home of the suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer.
The next step for investigators is to delve into the immense amount of evidence that was removed from this home. Rex Heuermann is charged with the murders of 3 sex workers, but he could potentially be tied to even more victims. Correspondent Sloan Glass has stayed on this story for us. She reports from Long Island.
Adrienne, Markey, we have learned that no human remains were found, but investigators are still going through trace evidence taken from inside the home and the backyard. Now, for 12 days, we have watched investigators bring out boxes of evidence, and soon all media will have to leave this area. But first, we were given close access to the Heuermann home for the first time since we arrived here. And the home of the accused serial killer does not match the description of Heuermann at work: successful and detail-oriented. We are told his home was also full of clutter, extending the length of the investigation of the property. We also learned that 279 weapons were taken from the vault in Heuermann's basement. District Attorney Ray Tierney called the list of items recovered huge, but would not give specific details about what items were brought into evidence from the home or backyard. And we now know that backyard was excavated after ground technology picked up on disturbances in the Heuermann yard. DA Tierney says that he does not believe that this investigation will be limited to New York State, but under New York State law, Heuermann's DNA cannot be entered into the National DNA Database unless he is convicted of a crime. We expect to see Heuermann in court next on August 1st. Markey, Adrienne.
Just so disturbing. Sloan Glass, thank you. NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber has been following this story closely as well. He joins us now to share his insights about these strange objects, the weapons taken from this home. Hey, Jesse, good to see you. The DA said investigators, and Sloan just reiterated it too, recovered 279 items that most people would consider as weapons. So let's start there with that. What was it, a walk-in vault of them found in his basement? Do we have any idea at this point if the victims were killed or threatened with those weapons?
That's the big question, right? So that amount of weapons, you can understand why law enforcement didn't actually try to arrest Heuermann within his home, because that would have been a very dangerous situation. But my first thought was, were any of those weapons linked to that crime? We don't know exactly how these victims were killed, whether or not any of those weapons were used to threaten or intimidate those victims at any point during these attacks. And like those weapons with any other materials that were found in that house, the main question is there any biological material that tacks back to that crime scene? So they have all of those weapons they have to look at. I think there were only 92 permits that he had in relation to all of those weapons. So it does obviously raise concern for law enforcement.
Yeah, and I know the DA said in yesterday's press conference that they didn't find any, body parts or bodies there, but they were looking at trace evidence now. Also among the clutter, I wanted to get your take on this. Among the clutter, police removed a portrait of a woman with a battered face. I saw, kind of a blurry image of her, and it was disturbing. What do you make of her? I mean, was this one of his victims, or was this something else entirely?
So, look, we could clearly speculate about what this is, and he is innocent until proven guilty. But the way that I think that might be significant is the first time I saw that, it immediately reminded me of the disturbing searches that he allegedly made on those burner phones about battered women and highly pornographic and disturbing searches. So my question is, could prosecutors say, well, wait a second, that photo is very consistent with his searches, and they may use that as a way to say he was the one looking up those disturbing searches, and he was the one using those burner phones, because those burner phones are also used to track his whereabouts as well. That's what, I mean, again, I'm speculating, but I wonder if that's what they might be doing.
Yeah, and I also know they found newspaper clippings about the Gilgo Beach serial killer, just to go along with all the searches that he has done and the interest that he has had over the years in this case. Also, investigators, I think we all watched them remove that childlike doll in this glass case. That was just creepy. I mean, that'll be analyzed for biological material, I guess, but how does this piece of evidence link to Heuermann's behavior? I mean, what do you make of the doll?
Yeah, that one stood out for a lot of reasons. A life-size doll in a glass box that wasn't in the children's room. I mean, I can speculate what maybe that is about. And now, obviously, I think the main concern there is if it has any kind of biological material on it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.